Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the EMF podcast. I'm your host, Ron King, and in this episode, we are going to be interviewing Jessica, an individual who has had a lot of encounters with the unexplained and the supernatural. This episode is going to cover her experiences growing up in her rural homestead, all the way up to some strange things that have happened more recently in her life. We ended up talking for about an hour just because she had so many wild experiences, and to be honest, we didn't even squeeze everything into this episode. This is definitely going to be a two-parter just because she told me that her husband has experienced even more paranormal events than she herself has, and after telling me about just some of the things he's witnessed, I feel like I have to do this again with both of them present. I apologize in advance for the sound quality. This was actually the first time trying a long-distance interview, and because she didn't have the capabilities, we had to record an actual phone call. Regardless, I feel like her stories were an absolute treat, and I hope that you find them just as intriguing as I do. You're listening to the EMF Podcast, Episode 2, West Virginian Tales, and I hope that you enjoy.
Hello, I'm Jessica. Since I was a child, I've seen some pretty strange things, and, you know, it's pretty, kind of freaky sometimes. Not very good at introducing myself about things,
No worries. I'm not a huge, I'm not a huge talker either. But,
Well, I'm interested in mostly, just learning about different things that have to do with, paranormal, spiritual, things. They're all interesting. Even some forms of cryptids are kind of cool to learn about, even if I don't really believe in cryptids. It's
nice.
still pretty fun to learn about. Yeah. The one I was petrified. As a child, this one was, I'll say I was 8 or 9 when I first really noticed anything. This one was, I was always freaked out by this one room in our house, and that was actually my bedroom. So I had to sleep there, but I refused to sleep with the door open. And every so often, there would be I would feel something sit at the bottom of, and we didn't have pets or anything, okay? And something would sit at the foot of my bed.
What?
Yeah, and there was a light from the hallway. I could see into my room, from that light, and I would look, reluctantly, did somebody come in here and sit at the foot of my bed? It felt like somebody had sat at the foot of my bed, and I would look, and there would be an indention, somebody was sitting there, but there was nothing there, and it didn't feel threatening, but it's still pretty scary.
So you didn't actually see necessarily a figure or anything, but you saw kind of the outline as if somebody was sitting on your bed?
Yes.
It didn't seem threatening at all? It was just kind of...
Just a parent would sit there and this is still scary because there's nothing there, but it doesn't feel like it wants to hurt me.
Well, that's good at least.
Still freaky.
I don't think I'd be able to sleep.
Oh gosh, no. No, shortly after that I moved the bedrooms. So you guys take that room. Please.
So did anything ever happen in the other bedroom?
Yeah. that bedroom, I wasn't in it at the time, but I was standing there talking to my mom and dad, and we were about to go somewhere. I was around the same age, and my mom saw this too. We look over, we're talking, we're going out somewhere. It was dark. It was winter time, of course.
Right.
Still necessarily daytime, but dark. And we look out through my and my bedroom door is open, and we see like this like glittery floating thing in my room, and it's like moving around, and I don't have anything like that. Like the biggest toy I had was a big stuffed rabbit, and I didn't have anything glittery at the time. And so we like look, like sneak over and look, and like this like wind like comes off, through the house like a draft, but it wasn't a draft. I've never felt a draft before, and it smells like perfume. And it's coming from that area, and it was just the weirdest thing. And my mom was like, she said it was an angel. I mean, she was like really, really religious at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Again, another thing that wasn't really threatening, but it was still like something that was strange. Like, it was like a floaty outline type thing.
So
that you could actually see because it was sparkly.
So did it have any kind of, did it have like a humanoid shape, or was it just almost like a big orb kind of floating there?
No, it had like a shape, kind of humanoid, but it wasn't full, like, it was like partial.
Sort of like a shadow, if it was kind of not
sparkly.
Dark?
Yeah, if it was like kind of a glittery shadow. Is the way I could describe it. I was like, oh, I'm 36 and I was 9 at the time, so it's been a while.
Yeah, no worries.
And that was the last that I remember seeing anything in the house. Actually seeing anything that had like a shape or anything, or even like a physical feeling, like the one that sat at the foot of my bed.
Okay. Do you think it might have been the same thing causing that?
It might have been. The weirdest thing of that, is like actually seeing it again, and then the smell of the wind like coming from it. That was really freaking weird.
Did you recognize the smell of the perfume at all, or was it something new?
No, it was like a new smell. It smelled like I don't know. See, I'm into herbs and stuff now, And have you ever smelled like it's a spicy kind of smell? It's like, you've heard of myrrh, right?
Myrrh.
Yeah.
No.
And, well, frankincense smells like feet, but it's good for a lot of stuff. But myrrh, you can't really use that internally. But it has, like, this really good, like, spicy, sweet smell. It's really, it's a very strange thing. It was an embalming spice, like they used in, like, Egypt and the Middle East and things like that.
Oh, that's actually kind of interesting, if it was an embalming kind of spice,
Yeah.
So what are some of the other experiences that you had outside of the house? I know you had some things happen a little later in life as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you about the orb. I was about, I think, 12. This was right before we moved from this place to another. We were outside. It's a fairly big piece of land. It was about almost 2 acres. Not huge, but it looked bigger because it was perfectly flat. And we had some woods and things like that. And so we sat on the porch at night and sat there talking. And it was my mom and I and one of our dogs that we had just gotten. And he starts barking out of nowhere, and we're like, what the heck? Quiet night, beautiful out here, you can see all the stars. And he's just barking at nothing. It must be a squirrel or something, or a nocturnal creature. And then we look up and we see this, about, let's say, it's pretty large, and it's floating off the ground. It's a big, like, ball of light. It was huge, like, probably, well, not huge, probably about the size of, bigger than it was about the size of a beach ball, or bigger. And it's clearly, you can see it floating about, I'd say, 5 or 6 feet off the ground. And it's glowing bright, a really bright color, like a real light blue or just white. It's vaguely, I'm pretty sure it was like a really light blue. And it starts just like hovering. It comes from around the front of our house and it's going beside it, past the porch where we're sitting. It keeps going and we watch it for like an acre before it gets to the woods. And then it's gone. And my mom looks at me and she's like, it's time to go inside. Like, yeah, I think so. And by the time it showed, but the weird thing is, like, my dog, he was a puppy, and he was barking until it, like, comes around the house, and he stops, like, he's scared. He's not even moving. And we just, like, we hurry back into the house. And from that, I didn't go outside in the dark anymore after that by myself.
I don't blame you.
No, I don't know what it was, but I didn't like it. It's not that it was just scary.
Yeah, just
it was just like,
right.
There's a big ass ball of light.
Just not knowing what it is,
Yeah. So that's enough of that tonight. Nope. Pretty sure that whole place was just haunted.
Do you know the history of it? The place?
No, not really. I just know that it's a housing development. Maybe it's some kind of poltergeist stuff or something. I don't know. Like some sort of ancient Indian burial ground, which I doubt. It's just there. And other people have talked about weird things happening around there too. Like I remember one of the neighbors said that they would wake up and they would be like floating above their bed. Of course, I was skeptical of that because I didn't really know them. But I mean, like if that had happened, I probably would I would have been like, yeah.
Time to move.
Yeah.
So they said they were physically floating above their bed.
Yeah, and that was our neighbor to the right. And then nobody else ever said anything like that. It was like those two pieces of property were the only ones that anybody ever, said that anything weird like that happened. That I've talked to, because those are really the only people I ever actually talked to.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they said they were physically floating above their bed, and when they woke up, they fell back into their bed. Which is, physically? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so it sounds kind of like a lucid dreaming kind of thing, or I'm not sure if you believe in, astral projection or whatnot, but it sounds kind of similar to that.
Yeah, it does, actually. Did you, come out of your body, or was it your body? I think it was my body. Are you sure? Because, you're a grown person, and I think your whole bed would have broken if you were falling that far. I don't know. That was 20-something years ago. But that's what they said.
All right, and that was the last time you saw that that kind of orb outside your house? Mostly probably because you didn't want to go back out.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't go back outside at night. And we moved very, very shortly after that. It was a few months, probably.
Okay. And so, did you happen to see anything else weird whenever you moved?
No, not really. That before we moved, I'll tell you about the light switch incident. And I'm pretty sure, like, I believe in, like, bad energy and things like that, and this might have been part of that. Not necessarily like a ghost or anything, but my mom and I were arguing in the hallway, and the lights were off, and the lights, while we were arguing, the lights clicked on, like, light switching on. We're both standing on opposite ends, arguing, and then the lights switch and everything just flip on and then back off. It's like whatever it was telling us stop.
And how many times did it flip on and off?
Twice. It flipped on, flipped off, and then flipped on again. And that was kind of creepy. My mom was like, all right, that's enough of that. Whenever she would nope out really, really quick when something like that would happen. that was not like an electric glitch or anything like that. Physically, the light switch was on and off.
So the actual switch that you move was actually flipping off and on?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You saw it moving?
Yep.
Okay, now that's weird.
Yeah.
Like I guess I could have seen it being some kind of electrical issue, but if you're literally seeing the switch move up and down, then
yeah.
there's really no explaining that.
No, that's why we tried to rationalize it. It was like, wait, what kind of like electric surge or whatever, glitch or whatever makes the light switch actually freaking move, man? Because she would try to rationalize stuff sometimes. It's like, no, I'm like 12 or 13 at the time again, and I'm going, like, I don't think that's how that works. I don't think, that it'll actually move the switch.
Yeah.
I can understand the light, like, blinking in and out or something, but not the switch.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Mm-mm. No.
So just to circle back a little bit, did any of your any other family members or friends have their own personal experiences that you can remember?
Well, pretty, actually. But I haven't talked to a lot of them in a while about that.
Okay.
To see if it was alright. I talked to someone about it.
Right.
A few years ago, about but I'm not the only one that noticed certain things like that. And we live in the city. We don't live out in the country or anything anymore.
Right.
So it's kind of weird when something like in that sphere of things happens.
So when you say a few years ago, that's a little more recently that something happened?
Yeah. It was about a couple of years ago, when I was in my room. I think I was taking a nap and I woke up, because I'll wake up before the kids get home from school. And I'm sitting here in my bedroom, and then I hear somebody like smacked the wall outside my window and yelled, "Mom!" And it sounded like my son, my middle son. And I get up and I was like, oh, I must have locked the door and they're trying to get a hold of me, because I can't hear in the back of the house, the front door, if somebody knocks. I need a doorbell.
You get one of those rings.
Yeah, I should probably get one. It's an old house, and it's pretty well insulated. You can't hear a lot from the back, from the front. So I go in there, and I was like, nobody's out there. I was like, hey, nobody's out there. And I look at the clock, and it's only 1 o'clock. They're not home from school yet.
So do you think something might have followed you?
I hope not. My husband's big into that. He was like, you shouldn't have engaged it. It might have been, like, something like, I'm thinking, like, a mimic or something like that, because that's freaky how much it sounded like him. Like, and other people are, like, trying to dismiss it. You were probably half asleep. No, I was wide awake. I was like, I woke up from my nap, and I'm, like, sitting here when that happens, I'm going, yeah, no, I wasn't asleep. I wasn't half asleep. I was wide awake when this happened.
That's pretty...
And the freaky thing is that it sounded just like him. It wasn't my imagination or anything like that. And the bang on the window, the wall right beside the window, the outside wall.
Yeah, I was about to say that's really creepy that it sounded just like him, you know?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it would have been, like, something normal. Because, I mean, they've never, like, banged on it or anything, but they'll, like, come around, like, if they want something and they know I'm, like, laying down. I have a few health problems from an injury, and I'll take a nap every once in a while. Well, actually more than every once in a while now. I'm getting old now. And the injuries caused more health problems. But I was, like, it's not unusual for them to come and, like, at my window so that I can hear them and say, like, hey, Mom, the door's locked or something like that. Let me in. And I'll go in there and unlock the door. But I did that this time, and it was only 1 o'clock. It's like it's whatever it was knew that happened.
Like it knew the routine?
Yeah.
Did you have any more experiences like that?
Not like that. Thank God. That's a little much. It's like my son. He was telling me it was what was it he said? I think he said it was a Wendigo or a skinwalker. I think he said it was a skinwalker.
Oh.
He likes cryptids. He's like really into cryptids. He's 14 now, and he was probably about 11 when this happened. Yeah, that's why when my husband heard that I like went out there to look for the kids, he was like, next time anything like that ever happens, don't engage.
It's like that person in the horror movie.
Yeah, he's like really, really into that stuff. He really believes it too. And he was talking about something that he's been seeing lately, like that I saw like a little like he was like, it's not gonna hurt you or anything like that. It's like something that's benevolent. And it's like a wispy like thing that's really apparently huge, because it was like on our house, and I only saw like the edge of it. I don't know what it is. You'd have to talk to him about that. But I saw it, and he was like, "Hey, you see that?" He was like, "As long as you're not like threatening to it, it's not gonna hurt you." He's like, "I'm pretty sure it followed me," is what he said to him about himself. I'm like, man, because he's got a lot of different things like that.
He's had a
whole
lot of experience.
A lot.
I think we're gonna need to do a part 2 then, because
yeah.
I'd like to hear about that.
Oh yeah. I don't remember what he called that thing that I saw like a part of. Like it's like wispy, like gauzy thing, but not like small. It was huge. and I only saw, like, part of it. He's like, yeah, it can get even bigger, he said. And I'm like, what the hell?
So he thinks he knows what it is then?
Yeah, he knows he thinks he knows what it is. He's got a lot of stories about shadow people and different things like that just follow him around. But he's not even scared of it. Like, he just like, what's up? Like, man, I'd be freaking the hell out. I don't know.
Yeah.
We need to set up cameras.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need to talk to him, too, because, I'm really interested in the shadow people.
Oh, yeah, he's got a lot of different stories about those. I personally never seen one, and I don't ever want to.
Yeah.
But he's not, like he said, as a kid it would freak him out, but now he's like, I named you Bob, and that's Jim. Like,
he named him?
Yes, he is. Oh my goodness, he's awesome though. He's hilarious. But he said he lived in a haunted trailer that he shared with. I'm going to tell you this because it's funny. He shared with a poison ivy that lived at, like, not the comic book character, the literal plant.
Right.
Was growing in half of the house that he was living in.
Oh God, that sounds terrible.
With his cat. And his friend came over, and he was telling me about this. His friend came over, and he was sitting there, and all of a sudden, like, this full-bodied apparition, like, I'm only saying that because, Ghostbusters, but yeah, like, he's like this see-through looking dude comes walking through, just, like, ignoring us, He says his friend looks over and is like, what the hell was that? He was like, oh yeah, that's James. And the only thing, like, he lived there alone with his cat. He had some cats then, and the poison ivy. So, I would have thought that he was making it up if his friend hadn't seen it too. Because that would have been funny, like, yeah, I made up an imaginary friend. I'm 18, I'm lonely, living in this house that's poison ivy is literally living in half of it. I live in, like, 3 rooms with my cats. But yeah, like, he's seen a lot. He's a big believer in things, and he's seen, since he was a little kid, a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk him into talking to you.
Yeah, definitely. We can all sit down and, talk about it, because I love this stuff.
Oh yeah, it's really interesting, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really seen any shadow people or anything like that, and I look for them, so.
I don't want to go looking for them, but I've not had to go looking for anything. Every once in a while, something will happen to me, and I'll say something like, "Oh, not again."
Yeah, it seems like whenever people aren't trying to find things, they seem to find them.
So yeah, like it's crazy. Like I don't nope. Like I said, like I'm pretty sure that whole freaking road that I lived on as a kid was haunted. I don't even know.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that went down that's hard to explain, and your rational mind is like, no, you were just seeing things. No. I wish I was. Not when there's like 2 people there and they're seeing the same thing.
And then the dog was barking at it too.
Yeah. Until it was scared. It didn't bark anymore. My dad never saw anything, but he did have, like, he never really sleepwalks or anything like that, but he did then. And he slept, we would sleepwalk a lot. I keep wanting to say sleptwalked. That's not the right word. He would sleepwalk a lot when we lived there, but he never did after that.
What kind of things did he typically do in his sleep?
He would get up and he would walk to the closet and then walk to the window. My mom would be like, what are you doing? And she said one time he tried to pee in the closet, but that's really weird. But okay. But yeah, the closet though is where he kept his guns and stuff. He had 2 guns. A sawed-off shotgun and that was his gun, and the rifle was my mom's gun. But that's where they kept those, so that's, I don't know why he would go to the closet and go to the window, to go to the closet. She was it was a back and forth thing that he was doing.
Well, it's a good thing you never went sleep hunting.
Yeah. That would have been weird, go out. I'm going hunting.
Thanks a lot for coming on.
All right, thank you very much for having me.
It was a pleasure.
No, all righty.
Well, you have a great rest of your day.
And you as well, don't work too hard.
Hardly working.
That's right.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the EMF podcast. I hope that you all enjoyed listening to this experience just as much as I did. If you or anyone you know has had strange experiences with the paranormal and would be interested in sharing or coming onto the podcast, you can reach out to us on our website, booboysparanormalresearch.com, as well as email, Instagram, or any of our other social medias. I can't wait to pick this back up in part 2, and I hope that this first part piqued your interest. I'm your host, Ron King, and this has been episode 2 of the EMF podcast. Stay safe out there, everyone, and stay spooky.